a conversation on standards. But before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, put on the notification so you get told when I post, otherwise you probably wouldn't see my longer form videos. Also, follow me on Instagram, it's Kira Bria, same as here. You can follow me on TikTok if you want. Okay, the reason I'm talking about this is because I think, and this isn't just from my experience with dating, but also my friends' experience with dating, multiple of my friends' experience with dating, men, a lot of times, if they are not the type to put in effort, if they're not the type to court, they want to like negotiate you out of your standards for wanting that. I want to make it clear, I'm not saying, you know, you can do whatever you want with your dating philosophy. You're allowed to ask girls to go for a walk in the park, but I'm not going to say yes to that, or even a coffee date. I'm not a big coffee date person, because this is the other thing though. I realized I want to know that I like the person enough to spend a meal with them. Like the amount of time of a meal, whether it be at least an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. I don't want to have to guess if I'm gonna like spending even a singular minute with this person or 5 minutes on a coffee date. Like, I get that it feels like low investment in the experience, like not just low effort, but low investment in the experience, because I know it's like how do I know I'm gonna like you enough to spend money on you for dinner? I want you to know. I will not spend time with somebody if I don't think I'm gonna like them. And I understand, like, I'm not saying it's not logical sense. I'm just saying it's not for me. Maybe I think too highly of myself in this setting. I don't know, but it doesn't really matter. It's not really anyone's business why my standards are my standards, and you have no business trying to negotiate me out of them. Boundaries are bound in the ground. That rhymed, sorry. I just hate this trend of like women who still enjoy effort, okay? Effort, thought. I'm not even saying it needs to be an expensive dinner date or something, but just something that feels thoughtful. Because to me, coffee or a walk just feels so frivolous and not prioritized, and it's just not the energy I want to begin anything. And I don't have to justify that, but I think these days a lot of men make you feel like you have to, and they try to make it seem like you're being unreasonable, or they try to be like, well, I just don't know if I'm gonna want to spend that much time with you. I think in our heart of hearts, we know that a lot of times it's financially driven what sort of dates men are intending to take you on. Not always, but I think a lot of times. Like, I don't know. But the thing is, I just don't understand why guys don't know that there are other guys who are asking that same girl on a dinner date tonight to be ready by 8. So when you're asking her on a walk, her alternative is to experience the city with someone that she might have a romance with. She's probably gonna pick that. I would, and I do. And I think like a lot of guys, maybe they think they're like always being one of one, and like girls aren't getting spoken to, or maybe they think the way they do things is the way everybody does things. But like, I'm here to tell you that's absolutely not true. Like there are men who put in effort, like for sport, like it means a lot to them. Not everybody out here is a bum. I'm happy to report. I'm very happy to report that. But it becomes very clear very quickly when you're speaking to someone new what they're used to and how much effort they're willing to put in. And I'm not here to educate anybody on that. Like, that's what I'm saying. I know, because I've experienced so much, I know how many guys out there, they enjoy thought and effort. They enjoy treating a woman and thinking about things and planning things, and that will just be their nature. You have to, like, a lot of dating is just assessing people's nature, because yeah, there's like the parts that we might be putting on, whether it's intentional or unintentional, but really what dating often boils down to is patterns and habits, and what is tolerable and what aligns and what is sticky, and can we iron that out or not. And those patterns form very quickly, right? And the way you are in the beginning, that's going to be your best. That's going to be you're on your shit more than probably later on in the relationship a lot of times. So if you're leading with no effort, and if you're leading with I'm not special, if you're leading with I'm going to take you on a walk or a coffee or something low effort because I don't know if you're worth the investment, if that's how they're trying to play it. I once had a guy try to he was like, oh, I always cook at home because sometimes when I go to restaurants, the food is expensive and I still go home hungry. The amount of times that the experience of going to a restaurant has been mansplained to me as if I haven't been. And then they try to be like, you just want a free meal. You just want a free meal. No, but my time is valuable. I can pay for it myself because I can. But the way they assume, because I haven't even said that I won't pay for myself. I don't expect to do that because that's not usually what happens. But I haven't even said the meal is on you. But they have said I am anti restaurant, and the guy was like going on and on about how he can make better food at home. And I was like, bro, it doesn't really matter. That's actually super not the point. And trying to make the point anything other than it's really a yes or no. Like either step up to the plate or leave or go home. Like there's no negotiating what I have set for myself as a standard of treatment, because I have a lot of if this then that with dating. I don't know if I said that right. So for example, if a guy says he's not political, and I know I'm being very hetero right now, but that's because first of all, oh my gosh, it's so hard to date women here. I'm sorry. It's just so hard. I've tried and it's so hard. Anyways, I realized that I've never dated anybody who dated long term or even short term, really. I've never dated anybody who asked me what I'm mixed with very early on. And I think it's because, first of all, that question is just a little bit stale. To me, it's it's very much oh, what do you do? What's your favorite color? What are you mixed with? But then sometimes it can get a little fetishy. I'm not saying that it always is. I think it's a lot of people's go-to, but I just think it's a stale go-to. And at its worst, when it's again, a lot of time, well, I don't know. I think a lot of times there's guys who fixate on the light skinnedness and the freckles and the curly, loose curls type of light skin mixed person. But I'm not saying everybody does that. I'm saying at its worst, it could be that. At its best, it's stale and thoughtless. And I've just noticed, never have I ever really messed with someone who led with that. I'm not saying never ask that. I'm not saying you can never ask that, but I'm saying I've noticed that the guys who are oh my gosh, you're mixed. What are you mixed with? Those usually aren't my people. Another thing is when the profile says one word answers gym or no drama, relaxing, that's also a record of thoughtlessness, in my opinion. Because, and I'm not saying do a paragraph, but it has to be more than 2 words. It can only be 3 if it's really funny or you really, really made your point somehow. But generally the 1-word answers, specifically for all the replies, is not a record of extreme thoughtfulness or intelligence in my eyes. At the end of the day, the biggest point is if you're not willing to meet a woman's standards, please just leave her alone. I find it so rude when people try to negotiate me out of my standards or make me feel they're unreasonable. Meanwhile, there's other guys who are doing that and more quickly, easily. It's just bro, do you think I don't go outside? I'm not stupid. And I think a lot of times guys talk to you you don't know what you're talking about. They just decide, oh, you don't know what you need or want for yourself. And it's my job to tell you what you should want in dating. Of course, it's the audacity. It's the audacity. Because in what situation do you get to tell someone else what to order on their romantic menu? My favorite, way to think about relationships. This guy that I talked to long ago when I was in college still, we were having a conversations about relationships, and he said, relationships are a la carte. Like, you get to pick the specific ingredients that you want and mix those together. And nobody can really tell you different. Unless it's like, okay, it can get misogynist quickly, obviously, but I don't mean it like that, obviously. I think women specifically, you have to protect yourself because a lot of people don't have good intentions. And I think requiring some effort can weed out some people who do not have good intentions. And it's really not that hard, is the other thing. It's really not that hard. It's really not that big of a deal. People do it every time. Some men will act like they are gonna die if they put in effort for a date. Like, they act like you're asking them to, I don't know, have a root canal. And they're like, are you serious? Bro, you should be delighted. You should be delighted at the opportunity, because the fact that I'm even giving you that opportunity, I want you to recognize that that is a big deal, and I want you to value that. And if you don't, then we have no business with each other. And you can't really disagree with that, because it has nothing to do with you at the end of the day. I was going to say you can disagree with that. Like, you can, but you don't have a leg to stand on there. It's not your business. I get to decide, at the end of the day, I get to decide how I am treated and what I value. And you don't get to tell me I don't deserve that. It's infuriating. And I'm like, what do you think you're going to get from that? Do you think that that's going to make me be like, oh yeah, he's right? Let me negotiate all of my standards, even though I have other people willing to do this way. Come on. Maybe they be so for real, you guys. It's just like, I just think that they should just say, okay, I'm not willing to give that right now, and move on. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not saying you need to go out to dinner. I'm not saying you need to put in effort for real dates if you're not in a place to do that, or don't want to, or don't have the energy. I also think a lot of people date, a lot of people in general date like really, they're not even really trying to date, or they're not being intentional, or they don't actually have like the right energy. Sorry, I ran out of storage and forgot what I was saying. But bottom line is, if you can't give her what she's looking for, just move on. Don't badger her and nag her and try to make her change her mind, because her mind will not be changed. I'm definitely interested in your thoughts on this topic, so please comment down below what you think.